Sylvester Stallone and First Blood, the rebirth of a wounded warrior in the annals of Hollywood. Few stories are as emblematic of sheer, dogged perseverance as that of Sylvester Stallone and the genesis of Rocky. But if Rocky was the story of his breakthrough, then First Blood was the story of his redemption. It was a project that would not only redefine his career, but also introduce the world to a new, more vulnerable kind of action hero born from a fierce battle for creative control and a deep personal connection to a wounded character. By the early 1980s, Stallone was in a precarious position. The massive success of Rocky had been tempered by a series of critical and commercial disappointments. He was perceived as a one-trick pony, a boxer who couldn't punch his weight in other genres. When the script for First Blood, an adaptation of David Morrell's 1972 novel, landed on his desk, it was a stark, brutal story. The novel's John Rambo was a lethal, psychotic killing machine who dies at the end. Major studios were interested, but they saw it as a straightforward, violent action film. And they wanted a bankable star like Al Pacino or Robert De Niro. Stallone, to them, was just the Italian stallion. But Stallone saw something else in the character of John Rambo. He didn't see a cold-blooded assassin. He saw a ghost. He saw the shattered psyche of the Vietnam veterans who were being ignored and spat upon by the country they had fought for. Rambo wasn't a villain. He was a tragic hero. A man whose unparalleled survival skills were utterly useless in a peaceful society that had no place for him. Stallone connected with this profound alienation, this feeling of being a weapon without a war, an artist whose voice was being misunderstood. His fight for First Blood was not for a paycheck, it was for the soul of the story. He knew the original ending, Rambo being gunned down by his former commander. Colonel Troutman was powerful, but he argued it was ultimately nihilistic. He believed that having Rambo survive, only to break down in a torrent of anguished tears, would be far more devastating and truthful. It would show the real cost of war, not on the body, but on the human spirit. The studio was vehemently opposed. They wanted a clean, dead ending. Stallone, leveraging what power he had, stood his ground. The emotional breakdown, he insisted, was non-negotiable. The filming was as grueling as the negotiations. Shot in the cold, relentless rain of British Columbia, Stallone immersed himself in the physical torment of the character. He performed nearly all of his own stunts, including the infamous leap from a cliff into a pine tree stunt that went wrong and left a fellow actor seriously injured. Casting a pall over the set, Stallone himself suffered a broken rib during the film. The harsh conditions mirrored Rambo's struggle, forging a bond between the actor and the role that was as much about endurance as it was about performance. When the film was released in 1982, it was a sensation. But its success was not due to the body count alone. Audiences were stunned by the film's final act. After a symphony of violence and survival, the climax in the police station was quiet, intimate, and shattering. As Colonel Troutman arrives, Rambo, this seemingly indestructible force of nature, finally crumbles. Stallone's performance in this scene is a masterclass in vulnerability. His voice cracks as he recounts the trauma of returning home to be called a baby killer. He describes a friend dying from Agent Orange, and nobody cares. The tears that stream down his face are not of self-pity, but of a pain so deep it can no longer be contained. It was a moment of raw, unfiltered humanity that no one expected from an action film. Stallone had been right. This catharsis was far more powerful than any death could have been. First Blood did more than launch a franchise. It resurrected Sylvester Stallone's career on his own terms. He proved he was more than a boxer. He was a storyteller who understood the power of pathos. He transformed Rambo from a symbol of mindless aggression into a poignant, enduring symbol of the forgotten soldier. A character whose greatest battle was not in the jungles of Vietnam, but in the quiet, lonely landscape of his own broken mind.